Hey guys, it's Stacy Taylor coming back at you with some important sales nuggets. And today we're going to be talking about dominant buying motives. And I know for all my salespeople out there, when it comes to the dominant buying motives, this is a doozy, right? Because let me tell you, if you are not able to tap into the reasons why people buy, what they buy, what kind of emotional torment they may be going through when it comes time for them to make a decision in buying your product, man, it's going to be really difficult to sell something if you don't know. So today we're going to be talking about dominant buying motives, And so if you've been with my channel before, welcome back. If this is the first time, I appreciate you. Thank you for joining me today. Please like and subscribe the video, and that way you can stay in tune and get more of me. All right, so let's get right into it. So have you ever delivered a presentation and you felt so good about the presentation, you felt so good about your delivery, that you said, man, I was on my game, and it was almost like a very assumptive feeling that you were going to get the sale. But needless to say, you didn't get the sale, right? And then it kind of left you scratching your head at the end of the presentation because you're like, well, why didn't these people buy, right? I felt so good. I made a connection with them. I felt good with them, right? And they just didn't buy. And so I challenge you to ask the question that you probably thought about asking before you watched my video is, where did I go wrong? Where did I go wrong? So I ask you the question is, did you solve for their buying needs, right? Because the buying needs, like I said, are a very important aspect of the sales presentation. One thing that's very, very important for you to remember is that there's a big difference between selling and buying. And remember, people don't like to be sold, but they love to buy, right? People do not like to be sold, but they love to buy. Now, how many times have you heard that statement, right? So why do people actually buy is the question. Why do they actually buy? And so the relationship of the sale is huge when it comes to asking for the sale. People don't just buy products, right? Keep that in mind. They don't just buy products. They buy both the company and the person who is offering the product. Prime example, Apple, right? Prime example is Apple. iPhones, right? I have an iPhone. And iPhones don't change from year to year. Some Apple users will probably beg to differ, but I know I'm one of them that I tend to upgrade my phone from year to year. And when you really think about it, the phones don't really change all that much. The 16 Pro is a lot like the 15 Pro, which was a lot like the 14 Pro. But consumers, right? Those who drink the apple juice, consumers, they continually upgrade their phones. And the reason why they do it is because Apple says they should, right? Apple is throwing out these commercials saying this new phone is going to be better than the last phone. And so we believe Apple. And so what do? We run out and we upgrade our phones. So that's a prime example that we're not really buying the product, we're buying the company. And because we trust Apple, that's the reason why Apple keeps us, continually buying their products. So needless to say, guys, everybody buys for different reasons. Everyone buys for a different reason. And so when we can identify those buying reasons, that will make it much, much easier for us to be able to tailor that presentation to that customer once we figure out what kind of buying reasons that they have, okay? Okay. So when you sell and you neglect the relationship, that's important. When you sell and you neglect the relationship, three things can happen. And those three things come down to one, maybe that person doesn't buy what you're selling, which is most of the results of selling a product that people don't like, right? So one, you walk away saying, maybe I'll have to call them back later. And the customer just walks away saying, not today, right? Two, they may end up buying it, which is good, but then guess what? Now they're returning it, right? they're returning it. In a timeshare world that I've worked in for so many years, we've got that 10-day rescission. And man, let me tell you something. If you sold the product and there's a little hint of apprehension on that customer side, man, you're sitting on your hands for 10 days because you're like, please, I don't want to see the cancellation letter come to my inbox to let me know that these people are returning their timeshare, right? So that's the second thing. They could end up buying it, but then they end up returning it. And the third thing is they buy it, right, which is a good thing, but they don't become a repeat client. And everybody knows if you're trying to start a business where you have to sell a product, one of the best things that you can definitely count on is the fact that you can have someone become a repeat client, either through themselves or through referrals, right? And so if this particular customer bought your product and then found out after the 10-day rescission or the rescission period that is probably something that they should not have bought, you're not going to get repeat business and you're not going to get referrals. And let me tell you something, if you can tap into those two pieces of nuggets when you're selling a product, having a repeat buyer and having referrals come to you through word of mouth, man, your business and your ability to sell people is going to skyrocket, right? And so this is when those three items, they kind of encompass the fact that the selling the item was more important than the customer aspect of it, right? So it was all about getting the sale, and it wasn't about fulfilling the customer side of the presentation or the product itself, right? I know in the past when I used to sell timeshare, I would be okay with telling someone, if you're not going to vacation at least 1 to 2 times a year, don't buy it. Don't buy it. And people would look at me and they go, are you talking me out of this? And I'm like, yeah, I am. Because the last thing I need to do is lose sleep over the next 10 days worrying about whether you're going to return it or not. So I'll be okay with losing that sale. But I know that every one sale that I lose like that, I'll probably gain 2, because karma, man, it's a dish best served cold. I know that. And it will come back to me in the best way possible. So the price, let's talk about the price for a moment, because people are probably saying, well, dang, Stacy, you know what about if I just lower the price as low as I want? Well, let me tell you something. The price attached to an item is a very small portion of the buying decision. It's a very small portion, right? And I got to tell you, if you've ever lost a sale because of the price, this is going to hurt a little bit. It's probably because you're not good at sales, all right? And I just got to tell you that. It's probably you're not good at sales. Because for many people, price means nothing when they really want a product. When they really want the product, they will buy it. And again, another prime example is most big ticket items purchased are connected to an emotional need. You know, you go out and you buy a handbag that's tens of thousands of dollars. The price wasn't a factor when they bought that expensive bag, right? And so name brands, you got your Louis, you got your Gucci's, you got your Pradas, right? Price is not even a factor for many people when it comes to buying those things. That's an emotional need. And so if you are, again, selling a product, and obviously for everything has a price attached to it, I recommend you learn how to attach your product to the emotional need of that consumer, okay? And so just about everyone who spends money will typically buy based on a sort of emotional reason. And so let's get to the crux of it. The emotional reasons, we call them in the sales world, the dominant buying motives. For short, you'll probably hear me throw around the 3 letters DBMs, all right? So dominant buying motives. And dominant buying motives really are the emotional reasons that motivate a customer into purchase a product or a service. Now, there's 6 of them. And you can research this and you'll probably find many more or a little bit less. But when you really bring it down to, you know, the core of it, there's 6 dominant buying motives. Again, DBMs. So the first one is, are you ready? All right, here we go. The first one is comfort or pleasure, right? Comfort or pleasure, that's number 1. And what comfort and pleasure does, it fulfills a convenience or some form of efficiency for the customer to already kind of ease a hectic lifestyle or something that's hectic for them, right? So comfort or pleasure. This is when you have to highlight the pleasurable or the enjoyable aspect of your product. I have to tell you that if you have a customer that comfort and pleasure is one of their DBMs, chances are they're probably an impulse buyer. Okay, they're probably an impulse buyer because for them, the pain is much stronger. It creates an impulsiveness to purchase, so they don't have to experience that pain because the pain hurts more than the pleasure for them, right? So give you an example of a comfort and pleasure type of buyer. So this is a person who will spend money on luxurious spa treatments, right? This is also that person who will pay extra money for a new car that has advanced comfort features. Maybe it's self-parking, the electric car. Maybe the seats come with a massage, right? Maybe there's just extra features in the car that you don't really need, or you don't really have to have when you drive this car. But this person perceives that without that particular feature, it's a problem. It's gonna hurt to buy the car, okay? Also, it could be someone who spends a little bit extra money on a comfortable chair that has a massage feature in it, okay? Because they know that if they're working from home and they're sitting a lot, the fact that sitting in a painful seat that doesn't give them some sort of relief on their back may be enough pain for them to spend the extra money on that chair, okay? So number one is comfort or pleasure. The second one is avoiding pain, right? And avoiding pain is this buyer is trying to relieve themselves from worry, pain, stress, and loss, okay? So you might have heard this where this is that person that would, buy a, let's say, self-propelling lawnmower, right? They cut their grass and they buy the extra feature lawnmower that has a self-propelling lawnmower, so it reduces their workload in the yard, right? So this type of consumer, you want to highlight the pain points first, right? Make it as severe as possible, and then you're going to use your product to alleviate the pain. Okay, they're a lot like comfort and pleasure, but they're just on the opposite ends of the spectrum, right? Love and affection is number three. Number three is love and affection. And so love and affection, for obvious reasons, that's for that person who wants to bring enjoyment, pleasure, or fulfill a true emotional need within themselves or with those that are close to them. This particular consumer buys an item because it's directly tied to feelings of caring, connection, and approval of those that are close to them, okay? So they'll purchase a product to express love, building relationships, or providing comfort and support to loved ones. Give you an example of this one. If this particular person is going on a vacation, instead of renting a hotel room, or multiple hotel rooms that just pretty much at the end of the day give you a place to sleep, this particular person will go out of their way to get an Airbnb with multiple rooms and kitchens and living rooms and dining rooms, just so that the entire family can stay together, okay? And so love and affection for them is very, very important. So with them, a lot of times you can get the sale, not just on how they emotionally feel about the item, but how their family and friends will feel about it, okay? The next one is fear of loss, right? Fear of loss, and I'm pretty sure a lot of people have heard the fear of loss, hope for gain type thing. So fear of loss, and that is where this particular consumer wants to protect their losses, protect from having losses, basically protecting what they already have. Now, this particular DBM is double the psychological pain over hope for gain, okay? The pain of the loss is much more severe to them than the pleasure of hope for gain. And this is the people that are motivated by a sense of urgency where you're using the scarcity of your item, any discounts that are going to only be around for a certain period of time, or possibly getting something for free that's only going to last again for a particular period of time. And this person, has what they call FOMO, fear of missing out, right? So you can use those types of selling strategies to get this person to want to say yes to you selling them. And then the next one is pride or prestige. Pride and prestige. And this is a doozy for a lot of them, a lot of people. Myself is one of them. And so pride and prestige, don't let my husband hear you say that. Pride and prestige is owning a product to reflect your personal style and or your values, right? And so for some, this indicates a sort of arrival, all right? And that arrival could come in the form of a big ticket item that most people won't spend money on. So it kind of gives them a bit of bragging rights, if you say, right? Bragging rights. And again, this falls right into the category of expensive cars. It could be handbags. It could be watches, all those high-end brand name items. It could also be traveling to places that most people don't typically go to because of affordability, or just because they're just unaware of those areas in the world. It's just not that popular. So it's kind of like bragging rights. So pride and prestige is a big one. It is a big one for a lot of people because, again, everybody wants to feel significant. And if you know a lot about, the love languages and what appeals to people, significance is a big one, right? And so the last one is profit or gain, right? Profit or gain. And profit or gain is basically to have more of something in the excess of it, right? To never be without, someone who has 3 lawnmowers probably has a profit or gain dominant buying motive, right? So this is when that customer purchase for a return on investment, revenue, or savings also. And it's not always in the form of finances. So don't mistake profit or gain just because the word gain comes in there for the fact that they're buying something so that they can sell it later on and make money. That's not always the case. The profit or gain could also come in the form of education, something that they didn't have previously and now they're having more of it. You ever met anybody that says they have like 4 or 5 degrees? Yeah, then profit or gain definitely is one of their DBMs. Or knowledge, right? You can have somebody that's constantly doing research and you can ask them, what are you going to do with all this knowledge? And they pretty much don't really know. They don't have an outlet of where they're going to, use all this knowledge. They just want the fact to know that they have it, right? So profit or gain plays not just in money. It can also play, like I said, in education or knowledge. So to end, even if your customer wants what you're selling, let's not forget, they're probably still going to give you some form of token resistance. And that's even after you've tapped into their dominant buying motives. Even after you've identified their emotional reasons on why they're going to buy, they're probably still going to give you some token resistance. Because at the end of the day, customers need to say no in order to justify their decision. That's okay. So I would say expect it, anticipate it. So it's necessary to your sales to know the art of negotiation, because if you're going to get no's, you got to have the art of negotiation coupled with the emotional reasons on why they buy in the first place. But the art of negotiation, I got to tell you, that's for another class. So I want you to stay tuned. So I hope you got something out of today's training. You got the 6 dominant buying motives. I hope you wrote them down. If not, you can watch the video again. And make sure you like and subscribe. And I'll see you soon for the next nugget. All right? Take care, guys. Thanks for joining me. Bye.